Hello and greetings to wherever you're joining us in the world today. Welcome to Macstaff Live. My name's Martin Crowson and I'm joined today by the MD of Macstaff, Anthony McCormack. Anthony, hello.
Hi, good afternoon in our time zone, Martin. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Today we're going to be talking about a subject that hopefully will appeal to many viewers today, and that is quick wins for a killer CV. We're going to talk about all sorts of aspects of what you should do, how you should go about it, what it should look like, how long it should be, etc., etc. And it's still, Anthony, a very important part of the recruitment industry, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. And I obviously look at CVs several hours every single day, so it's good to have a chat about this topic. It's something that I definitely can give some advice on. And yeah, the CV is the gateway to the interview, isn't it? So in terms of what's a CV for, or what's the point of it? Yes, it's a record of your work history, and it's the kind of thing that you use to apply for jobs. But mentality-wise, it's a sales document. So you're the product. The CV is selling the product, and the result, or the goal is to score yourself an interview. So CV secures you the interview. The interview secures you ultimately the offer. So it's an important document.
Just while we're thinking about it, why CV? Why curriculum vitae?
Yeah, well, as a Latin scholar, Martin, I can confirm to you that it's a Latin word, isn't it? CV, long version curriculum vitae, and it stands for the course, or the meaning is course of life. So it's the kind of the story of the course of your life. How nice, quaint.
I loved how you looked away when you were answering that question and didn't look like you were looking on Google. So congratulations for that.
Yeah, it's true. You can check.
We've all got one. We've all done one. So the big question is, how should your CV look? Can you find templates for these things anywhere? 1 page, 2 page, 3 pages? How should people be going about tackling their CV?
Yeah, so I guess most important thing is that it's all about your skills and experience and achievements and things like that. So whatever the format is, it shouldn't be distracting. It should be a good, clean look. I say maximum 3 pages would be best. There's some debate on that. I like to see a reverse chronological order, i.e. Your most recent experience at the top, probably followed by some kind of a professional summary, which gives the reader an idea as to why you're a good match and why it's worth reading the rest of the document. And just if you're going to start sending a CV out there, either do a new version or give it a good overhaul and check for consistency and things like that, because quite often there might be differences in font or bullet points and things like that if a CV's kind of gradually been cobbled together, as people quickly add another entry and whack it out there for new applications.
How far should you go back in your educational achievements, Anthony, in terms of that?
So when somebody's a graduate or a junior or new job seeker of some kind, quite often the education takes the front and center spot, doesn't it? And you go into detail as to every GCSE or that sort of thing, or the details of your the modules or courses that you've done. I would say once you're a few years into your career, your work experience becomes more important. I would suggest dropping that education section down from the top to towards the bottom, maybe before hobbies. And again, some debate on it, but you could truncate your experience to just include the stuff that's relevant to the kind of applications that you're making at the moment. Maybe just 10 years of experience or 20 years of experience, and just so it's not, I guess, kind of dishonest by omission. What I quite like if people do is summarize the earlier career history, just in terms of job titles and dates only. Rather than having the full paragraph that you'd expect in the main body of the document. You said about templates earlier on as well, and yeah, that's definitely a good place to start these days. And I think that the wild difference in quality of CVs has kind of come down a bit in recent years because templates are available. So yeah, just Google, CV templates. You'll get some good results. One of my favourite places is called dayjob.com, and there's a whole bunch of free versions and some paid versions that are quite fancy as well.
Okay. You must have seen a fair raft of CVs in your time, but can you remember a worst ever CV and explain to us why it was that?
Without actually naming and shaming me.
Absolutely, without naming and shaming.
No, one sticks in my mind actually. That's a job applicant. It was typed, fair play. That was like one good thing about it, I suppose. But it was like a photograph of a paragraph, and the paragraph was mostly like a kind of a tirade as to why he'd not been working for a long time and why he'd been fired from lots of previous positions and things like that. So I'm getting a bit like scared as I'm reading it. But so he is prepared to to accept a new job, this guy, but he had a number of kind of terms and conditions to that, like was only prepared to work outside because he was such a heavy smoker. Only prepared to work really close to his house because no transport, like, with fair play. And lastly, that he couldn't work with any other people because of the anger management issues.
Oh my God.
So call me a coward, but I just kind of politely rejected the CV rather than going into the whole advice about it because I was a bit too afraid, basically.
Yeah, I wonder if he's still without a job.
Probably, and some people just literally make job applications because it's required for benefits as well. But that's another story.
Right.
In terms of what's kind of bad in general, though, and obviously giving advice so that people can kind of change or amend is photos where there's kind of not culturally, supposed to be a photo on the CV. If it's a photo, literally a photo taken of a document from somebody's phone, or it's a, not very good photocopy, that's not good. If it's obviously done from a template and a whole bunch of the text or titles from the template are left in, that's careless. I see that a lot. Or if if there's just no detail, like underneath the job titles, or no dates, that's a bunch of the common problems right there.
Should people try and, catching people's eyes become more and more prevalent, especially with social media around these days? So should people play with their templates and layouts and be creative with fonts or whatever? Or is it just, this is the time just to get the details down and do it well in a basic manner? Yeah,
so again, touching on the kind of don't be distracting, I suppose. So, have a good professional document, but I wouldn't go too far into the having exploded pictograms and too many photos and things like that can make a CV look cluttered. And there is an element, I think you said about what people are expecting to see, like a traditional CV would be something that I would kind of recommend. I suppose I'm accepting of the fact that a CV or resume will have different expectations in different places and in different industries as well. So when I see a graphic designer's CV or an architect's CV, it does obviously look different to a banker's CV. It is more creative, but yeah, I think the most important thing is the experience and the clear, clean look. And I don't know whether we're going to come to this, but sometimes if you're applying through an applicant tracking system or through an agency, the ability to get a CV in a template or screen it using software is important, and the systems won't necessarily take or be able to process a heavy megabyte pictorial document. So be a bit cautious on that. Go traditional.
In terms of and I was just going to say, in terms of putting together your document, is it a one size fits all, or should you really start tailoring your CV for specific jobs you're going for? And that, I guess on the same line, what if you're going for lots of jobs? You really do need to take the time to tailor each specific CV you're sending off to that job you're applying for, or is that overkill?
So I guess the first step, and not getting everybody to try and go too far, it's like hold up, get one solid, professional, succinct document that you could use for most job applications. But then, having said that, as if you're targeting different jobs and different industries and things like that, you might want to tailor a number of different versions. Yes, that would be a really good idea, even if it's just to recognize the change in emphasis between the sales jobs that you're applying to versus the operational ones. For example, you might just kind of swap and change a few bullet points in and out the document, depending on the target audience. So first step, get a really good base CV, and then save a number of different versions depending on type of job or industry.
Yeah, okay. I should just say at this point, if anyone's got any questions while Anthony and myself are chatting away, please pop me in the comments section below, and if we get time, we'll endeavour to answer them. Please also subscribe to the YouTube. Please also subscribe to the YouTube channel for the first news about when we're doing other similar live broadcasts, which could help you secure the job you're after at the moment.
100%. Yeah, I'm not judge and jury on this. Obviously, we'd be interested in hearing from people as to how long's your CV. I've said 2 or maximum 3 pages, but again, it depends on who you are, where you are, what you do, and things like that. So your input would certainly be valuable. Yeah,
please let us know below. Back to the topic at hand, and we've talked about education and how much of that should go on your CV. What about your professional achievements? Things to look out for, and again, how far should we go back chronologically in listing those and describing those?
Okay, so I would say to just include 10 or maximum 20 years of, depending on your kind of age or career length in total, with maybe summarised experience at the bottom. But I think you hit the nail on the head there with have your achievements and accomplishments on there as well. That's the way you differentiate yourself from the other guy who's also got 10 years experience in the same industry. So they should be quantifiable, your achievements. So it might be that you increased sales by 10%, from 1 million to 1.1 million. It might be that you've had, it's obvious from your CV that you've had supervisory and management skills, but you are going to want to say that you've managed a team of 10 to 20 people. You've trained every new hire that's come into the division, like totaling 50 people or whatever, and just be specific, and that's the way that you differentiate yourself from somebody who's making general claims about their good experience to somebody who's giving evidence of detailed specific achievements.
I guess it's a case of being smart with that as well, Anthony. Is it in terms of the job you're going for? Think about the things that you've done with your profession yourself that could help you get the job you're after. Pop them in. Yeah,
and that's when the tailoring your CV thing does definitely give you the edge, because you can, if you're smart about it, you'll look at the job spec and the person specification, or the requirements of the individual, and you'll mirror that back in the way that you add things to your CV. Yeah, I've already accomplished that level of sales. I've already opened a new division. I've already implemented a new software, and you make sure that you kind of tick all the boxes, by tailoring your CV, and obviously then you're going to want to keep a document library and track of your different versions of your CV, and it's important that they're complementary. Maybe they have a different emphasis, but they're never contradictory. Your audit trail in a way shouldn't reveal omissions in your CV. Like I've had the same person apply to a job 6 months later, and the CV is different to it was the last time I had the CV version. I go back and it looks so different that it's a concern in terms of is it an honest account of the previous job, or this job's missing, and things like that. So you have to keep your ducks in a row and keep it clean when you've got different CV versions.
What about any details from you personally as well? I mean, I think I remember on my first ever CV, I like watching films, playing sports, and spaghetti bolognese or something. But is that an important part that we should give a potential employer a little glimpse of what we're like personally?
Yeah, it's nice to personalise, I guess, isn't it? And two different parts in a way. I think to your question, the personal details need to be on there in terms of your contact information. However, it's not, a main selling point, so you're not going to want to use a lot of column inches, like to use your journo phrase. You might want to just pop that information maybe in the header at the top there in small typeface that, here's my address, here's my telephone number, here's my email address. Sometimes people want to omit their full address, like in a cybersecurity type world, and I think that's perfectly okay, but I would recommend putting the town or some reasonably specific geographical location, because companies want to get the comfort to know that you live within striking distance of the job, if indeed it's not a remote one, because that's increasingly the trend at the moment. And then the other part of the personal information is the hobbies, isn't it? And it's always a funny one, because everybody is bored or hates everybody else's hobbies, don't they? So you can score an own goal potentially. But I suppose I'm going to say you might as well put them on. It's traditional to put them on. It might be a little bit self-serving, but if you pick your your hobbies or your pastimes carefully, that it might improve somebody's opinion of your of you, or maybe the accomplishments that are involved might give a bit of a window as to your character and therefore ability to perform well in the job. Like I'll put things like that. I've done an Ironman 70.3 or run a marathon, because the determination and resilience and things like that is important as a recruiter. If you put stamp collecting or crochet and things like that, and it happens to be the same hobbies as the hiring manager, then that's a good win. You've got a bit of extra rapport. But I wouldn't rely on that. I'd again pick the safe versions really, and keep it short.
I guess also, or anything polarizing, like I don't know, attending political rallies or something, because you really are risking a clash there, aren't you?
Yeah, because you've got to keep your target audience in mind. Again, the CV is a sales document. It's there to win you the interview. So don't score an own goal on the last part there.
Yeah.
And for some reason, people seem to turn into some kind of an amateur comedian when it comes to the hobbies as well. Let's say that they burning the dinner and things like that. It's it doesn't sound like the same person who did the rest of the CV. But it's always entertaining.
Okay, we've got to the end of the documents, and the final thing most people end with is references available upon request, or here are my references, which is the way to go.
Yeah, so there's a good reason for going both ways, basically. I would say to include excellent references available on request, but given the detail of the references, like the name and contact number and things like that, does show confidence, and it might just get you the job, obviously, which is the aim of sending the CV. But I wouldn't have all the references, contact details on your CV all the time. I would protect your references. It's a favour essentially that this person's doing for you. They should step in at the end of the process and act as the expert witness, basically, that rubber stamps you as everything that the employer wants and the person who's going to get offered the job. If the references have been contacted already multiple times, it's going to take the shine off that conversation when it really matters. And people wouldn't necessarily always consider as well, but recruiters will, as a matter of course, often harvest the details of the references that you've provided as well, for either headhunting or their own business development to try and get them on as a paying hiring manager. So you perhaps don't want to use your references in that way on reflection. So references are available, and then you can control who gets those details and when. Okay.
You touched on the word resume a couple of times during our chat today, and I know you've had half of your career has been spent in the North American market. As someone that's been employed mainly in the UK, what is the worldwide phrase that's used? If we're talking about CVs and resumes, what's the is there a difference, or is it just a difference of geography?
So yeah, where we're both sat now, I think it's the same thing, you know, in two different names, like tomatoes, tomatoes. But giving you a little bit of a history lesson again, same as the Latin earlier on. If we're in the US, then it is two different documents, and a resume would be their favoured version, which is a shorter, succinct document, maybe 2 pages, and a CV or curriculum vitae is the more detailed version, which you know, maybe references more documents and could go 5 or even 6 pages. But for rest of world, you know, I think CV is the general term, but you know, people would understand the word resume, and essentially it's the same thing.
Okay,
this is another one where we'd be pleased to hear from, you know, the people watching as well, though, isn't it? Like, where are you? You know, what do you call it?
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know, please, in the comments below when we finish today, where you are and what you call it, and also it'd be interesting to find out how long your CV is as well. You know, is yours a 1-page, 2-page, or 3-page document, and why? So we'll be checking the comments over the next day or so, and we'll always get back to you if you leave a comment with us.
Yeah, we can maybe see some patterns then, can't we, in terms of, you know, what type of jobs and locations and industries, you know, have you know, which name and which length.
Yeah,
good data.
Anthony, you've written a book on finding a job. Tell us a little bit more about that and where people can get that from.
Yeah, of course. It's normally around somewhere, isn't it? But Job Search, Job Done, by obviously myself, Anthony McCormack. It's available on Amazon. I think it's you know, just $7.95 for the paperback version, $3.95 for the ebook, if I'm remembering that correctly. Anyway, and it's basically your one-stop shop success manual for job search. So it will take you, you know, all the way through the process from, you know, deciding if you're going to stay where you are or embark in a job search at all, through to negotiating an offer and walking into the sunset. So yeah, I think it's a useful point of reference, obviously, and do either ask me about it or just pick up a copy from Amazon.
Okay, brilliant. And it's been an absolute pleasure today, and thanks very much for joining us and imparting your knowledge on CVs. I'm certainly in a better place now than I was 20 minutes ago. We'll catch up again soon. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a pleasure to catch up next time. Thanks, Martin.
Folks, thanks a lot for joining us as well. We much appreciate your time as well. Please subscribe to the Macstaff YouTube channel for the latest news on when our next live broadcast will be. You can find out more about Macstaff on www.macstaff.co.uk, and you can follow us on our socials as well, which is Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks once again for joining us. We'll be back in the very near future with some more information about how you can be better prepared and get the job you're searching for. So please join us again soon. In the meantime, thank you very much from me, and thank you very much from Anthony, and we'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.